shocking differences between Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and Meghan Markle have just been exposed in glorious detail.
Meghan and Harry are reportedly trying to control optics in public perception. Catherine's image has only grown stronger, especially with her trip to Italy.
She's obviously thoroughly enjoyed every single minute because the Italians are very family-oriented.
Meghan Markle, her career is not in great shape, and their finances don't seem to be doing well either.
Harry's essay in the New Statesman about anti-Semitism. Do you think, as Tom Sykes does, that it was a deliberate attempt to sabotage Catherine's visit to Italy by snatching attention away from her?
Meghan Markle has had a worst week, and the hardest part is this. Catherine didn't have to say or do anything. She simply arrived in Italy, and that alone changed everything. Let's begin in Italy, because what happened there is the kind of moment people won't forget anytime soon. Catherine was in Reggio Emilia to support her early childhood project.
This woman doesn't have the right people around her, and even if she did, she wouldn't listen to them. And Catherine has the right people around her, and she listens. So this is why she's always going to come off much better than Meghan, because it's someone who is trying to get by with, looking a certain way and misses every single time. And Catherine is just really, truly there for the people. And when you see her, she always looks impeccable.
For anyone who hasn't been following closely, Catherine has devoted years to understanding early childhood development. She didn't take this on because it was popular or because a team told her to. She chose it because it truly matters to her. She has studied the research, met with specialists, and visited centers across the world. She keeps returning to this work because she believes a child's earliest years influence the rest of their life, and Reggio Emilia is home to one of the most respected early education programs anywhere, which is exactly why she went there.
Catherine outplayed Meghan. Catherine understood something Meghan never fully accepted, and that is, in the monarchy, longevity, discipline, restraint, public duty matter more than celebrity attention.
But no one could have expected the reaction she received. The crowds were huge. Some people had traveled 3 hours just to see her. This wasn't for a concert or a movie premiere. It was a royal visit focused on child development research. And when Catherine stepped out of the car by herself, without William, the roar from the crowd was on a completely different level.
Catherine got out of the car during her first engagement. This is when we saw her with a baby that was just like giggly, so excited to see her, and surrounded by all of these children. The roar of the crowd when she stepped out of her car.
She sat on the floor with the children and spoke to them in Italian, real, fluent Italian, because she had lived in Florence before university. Most people had no idea she could do that until then. And the children didn't walk up to her quietly the way kids often do when they are told to be polite. They rushed straight to her with their arms open, as if they already knew her. There is something about how children respond to someone that cannot be staged or forced. A person either has that connection or they do not. And every child in that room was drawn to Catherine. By the end of the visit, the story was everywhere. Royal experts were calling it a major moment. Hugo Vickers, who has spent many years around the royal family, said it all felt natural and meaningful, in a way some other royal appearances simply do not.
I think it was a sort of perfect royal tour because it was a fact-finding mission. She's going to report back, and she's apparently going to go on similar tours. An opportunity to see her looking well, looking her incredibly smart, and people came sort of travelled 3 hours to see her. So yes, she's such a star.
He kept his comments polite, but everyone understood what he was really saying. And while all of that was playing out in Italy, the situation in Montecito, California was going in the exact opposite direction. At nearly the same time Catherine was being welcomed by cheering crowds in northern Italy, Meghan shared a video for her As Ever brand that instantly sent the internet into a frenzy.
Meghan dropped a new As Ever promo video on Monday afternoon, and the entire internet had the same reaction inside 9 minutes. The video is sold to the audience as a marmalade campaign or whatever she is selling. It's not marmalade, it's jam, right? Okay.
Now, no one is blaming her for promoting her business, but this video left people confused. They were not sure what to make of it. She appeared in an evening gown, kept placing a hand on her chest, stared intensely into the camera, and sipped tea in a way that seemed meant to feel glamorous, alluring, or maybe inspiring. But people in the comments had no idea what the video was trying to be. One person said it felt like someone who thinks they are far more interesting than the public actually finds them. Another calls it an audition tape for a show that does not even exist. And those reactions landed because they pointed to a bigger issue. There seems to be a growing disconnect between how Meghan presents herself and how people respond to her. And that disconnect is only becoming more obvious.
But here she is. Look, she's like, she's touching herself. She's looking real dramatic. I don't know what the hell she's doing. This is the behavior of a severe narcissist, in my opinion, probably with sociopathic tendencies. It also looks like a woman who's going to be single soon. Like, it just looks like she's probably going to be single soon. She's really trying to ramp up the sex appeal, but she has the sex appeal of a bar of soap.
Then Saturday Night Live added another blow. During Weekend Update, the show joked about King Charles visiting the United States, and the punchline labeled Meghan as an American terrorist. The crowd laughed, and the segment quickly moved on. Saturday Night Live takes shots at everyone. Presidents, major stars, world leaders, no one gets a pass. And anyone who watches the show knows that. But insiders say Meghan was not just upset, she was absolutely livid.
King Charles visited the U.S. to mark the 250th anniversary of American independence from Britain and to seek the release of a British hostage being held by an American terrorist.
According to reports, people around her reacted right away, and NBC was instantly added to her blacklist. She is said to view the joke not as harmless comedy, but as a targeted insult from the establishment aimed directly at her. And this is where it really stands out, because this is not new for Meghan. When Vanity Fair coverage stopped going her way, she shut them out. When a reporter writes something negative, access reportedly disappears. People close to the situation say this is a clear pattern. When she feels criticized, she does not face it directly. She cuts people off every time.
Do you think that's how Meghan Markle reacted? Well, not according to Rob Shooter, who has revealed that she is now boycotting NBC altogether as a result. And she cares about NBC a lot, because I remember when she was in the British royal family, she cared about the Today Show so much. And she would time a lot of her press releases to go out sort of lunchtime UK time, because she cared more about getting on the Today Show in America.
But the NBC move stands apart from the rest, because NBC is not a small outlet she can easily ignore. It is one of the largest television networks in the United States. And what makes the choice even more puzzling is that Meghan has long depended on CBS as her strongest media ally in America. The Oprah interview aired on CBS. Her friend Gayle King is a leading figure on CBS Mornings. For years, CBS has been the network most willing to give her a supportive platform. But the media landscape has changed. New owners took over at CBS. The late-night host who openly backed Harry and Meghan is no longer there. And the news division is now led by people whose views seem miles away from Meghan's public image. So, if she has now shut out NBC, and CBS is no longer the comfortable refuge it once was, the obvious question is, where does she go next? And that question becomes even more important once you look at what is really happening with the finances. People close to the couple say one detail helps make sense of their recent choices. They need at least $6 million a year just to maintain their basic lifestyle in Montecito. That figure does not include extras. It is simply the starting point.
So, sources close to the couple say Harry, while focused on philanthropic work, is not bringing in much cash. Money is tight, the source added, and they need at least $6 million a year for operating expenses in the billionaire enclave of Montecito, California. As Page 6 revealed, the couple spends about $3 million of that on private security for the family, which includes Archie and Lilibet. They also have to make mortgage payments on their $15 million mansion.
About $3 million goes to private security alone, and they are also carrying the mortgage on a $15 million home. The As Ever brand was meant to ease that pressure, with products like jams, honey, candles, and other lifestyle items. But so far, the business does not seem to be bringing in the kind of money they need. Reviews have not sparked strong repeat demand. One candle reportedly arrived with no wick, and the orange marmalade has turned into an ongoing punchline online. Many people following the brand say it is getting plenty of buzz, but not the level of sales needed to seriously reduce a $6 million yearly cost. Her Netflix projects were dropped. The Spotify deal ended long ago. The Girl Scout film did not build the momentum they wanted, and the Hollywood opportunities they expected after leaving royal life have mostly failed to appear. The real twist is this. One of the main reasons Harry and Meghan stepped away from the royal family was to keep King Charles out of their financial affairs. They wanted freedom. They wanted full control. They signed major deals and made it clear they believed they could succeed on their own. But now, reports say they need $6 million a year just to keep everything going. But as awkward as that situation may be, the Invictus issue feels far more serious. The Invictus Games was meant to be the one project beyond criticism. No matter what people think of Harry or Meghan, a sports event for injured veterans is clearly a worthy cause. It came from a sincere idea and carries real meaning, which is why the current situation is so troubling to see. Boeing has now withdrawn from Invictus 2027.
Sounds like the Wounded Warrior Games. And people think, oh, this must be great. And a lot of people are unclear how to read a tax return or to check stats. And so I think it was just very easy to say, oh, the Invictus Games, it's great. It does all this.
That support is gone. The Australian government also withdrew nearly £5 million in funding after Harry and Meghan's visit there. That money is gone too. In 2023, the organization filed for bankruptcy, a major development that did not get the attention it should have. On top of that, the UK government has pledged £26 million in public funding to keep the Games alive. That means British taxpayers are now helping support an organization that has lost major sponsors and has already gone through bankruptcy. There is also the claim made by Tom Bauer in his recent book that Invictus money was used for private jets, luxury hotels, and personal travel for Harry and Meghan. If true, that would raise even more serious questions about how funds linked to the Games were being spent. Bauer's claims have been challenged, but donors seem to be reacting to something because support keeps falling away. For many people in the UK, who deeply respect the armed forces, the idea that injured veterans are being pushed into the background at their own event, while two public figures focus on protecting their image, is not just upsetting, it is deeply angering. In the middle of all this, Harry chose to publish an essay. On the very same day King Charles went to Golders Green to meet members of the Jewish community who had been attacked just weeks earlier, an article under Harry's name appeared in the New Statesman about anti-Semitism in Britain. The timing did not go unnoticed. Dickie Arbiter, the late Queen's former press secretary and a man with long experience in royal matters, described it in one word: contrived. He said Harry's actions are shaped by the people around him, and that releasing the essay on the exact day that King was quietly doing real community work was no accident.
Everything with Harry is contrived by the people who are driving him. Now, it's coincidental that it should happen and be published today, the very day that the King goes to Golders Green to meet the very people who were attacked a couple of weeks ago.
Hardly anyone who follows Harry closely believes he wrote that piece himself. The wording is too polished, and the arguments feel too carefully arranged. This is the same person who helped produce a memoir that still came across as messy and deeply personal. The essay sounded more like the work of a professional political media team with a clear plan. People watching closely believe that plan had two aims: to make Harry seem important again by linking his name to a major issue, and to pull attention away from Catherine's trip to Italy, which was getting the kind of positive coverage that Harry and Meghan cannot currently generate on their own. It failed. The Jewish Chronicle published a strong response highlighting weaknesses in the essay. Royal commentators also questioned why someone who once wore a Nazi costume, has lived outside Britain for years, and holds no public office was trying to lecture the country on anti-Semitism in a left-leaning magazine. Most damaging of all was the contrast. While Harry's article was making headlines, his father was in Golders Green quietly meeting people and doing the real work without seeking attention. But all of these moves, the essay, the NBC boycott, the brand videos, and even the reported vow renewal plans, seem to have one thing in common. They look like efforts to regain control of a story that has already moved on. And the reason is easy to see in the photos from Italy, where Catherine looks calm, confident, and completely comfortable, surrounded by people who travel 3 hours just to catch a glimpse of her. People often say she makes it all look easy. That may be true, but what often gets missed is the price she has paid over the years to reach that point. Just look at what she has faced in public. Paparazzi waited outside her flat before she had even married William. Private topless photos were published without her permission in 2012. For years, she has dealt with constant comments about her weight, her clothes, her family, and even her facial expressions. She's been caught up in phone hacking, endless rumors about her marriage, and then, while privately going through cancer treatment last year, social media turned her absence from public life into yet another wave of suspicion.
Social media dissected her marriage, her health, her appearance, even her whereabouts, with a level of entitlement that at times became genuinely disturbing. And yet through it all, she still refused to turn herself into a victim. That is what makes Catherine different from so many modern public figures.
Wild theories spread fast. Strangers who knew nothing about her felt they had the right to question where she was, even while she was facing cancer. Yet through all of it, she never gave a revenge interview, never did an emotional TV special, and never pushed stories to damage anyone else. When she finally spoke about her illness, she did it in a brief video that was calm and direct. She thanked her doctors and said she and William wanted to deal with it privately first, especially to protect their children. Then she shifted the focus away from herself. Her message was simple. You are not alone. Not feel sorry for me. You are not alone. When she returned fully to public life and went to Italy on her own, the crowds were not there because of some PR push. They were there because, for 20 years, she has shown people who she is, through steady, quiet, consistent behavior without asking for praise or payback. That is the one thing Meghan has never managed to match. No amount of brand videos, commissioned essays, or carefully managed media coverage can create that kind of trust. You cannot fake 20 years of authenticity. Either people see it in you or they do not. So what comes next for Meghan in all this? Reports say the next idea is a vow renewal. The story being shaped around it is that they never had the wedding they truly wanted, that the royal system held them back, and that renewing their vows would finally give them the moment they were denied. But step back and look at that for a second. They already had one of the biggest royal weddings in modern history, watched by billions around the world. And now the claim is that it still somehow fell short because of the institution around it. People close to the situation say the real reason is business. A vow renewal means fresh content, new headlines, licensing deals, and maybe even a documentary, a special, or some other project that could bring in money the brand is not making by itself right now. At the same time, Harry is said to be in talks with palace officials about a possible return to the UK for Invictus, including requests that Meghan be given guaranteed respect and special treatment before they agreed to come. But respect does not work like that. Everyone knows it has to be earned. It comes from years of showing up, doing the work, and not turning every moment into something about yourself.
Harry is allegedly trying to negotiate special treatment and respect for Meghan ahead of a possible UK return that is tied to the Invictus Game event.
Catherine has never needed to ask for respect. She earned it the way people always do, by showing up, staying steady, and doing the job well over time. Now Australia is next. William and Catherine are heading there, and that matters because people still remember Harry and Meghan's trip. That visit brought controversy, funding problems afterward, and a feeling that too much of the attention was on them instead of the purpose of the tour. William and Catherine are not expected to do anything flashy in Australia. They will not make public comments about Harry and Meghan. They will not address any of this directly. They will simply arrive, do their work, meet people sincerely, and let the difference speak for itself. That seems to be the part Meghan never fully understood. The monarchy does not have to attack you in public. It does not need a fight, a statement, or a media campaign. It just keeps moving, keeps serving, and keeps turning up. Over time, the contrast becomes impossible to miss, and no amount of image control or media planning can hide it. Meghan spent years trying to be the main attraction in the monarchy. Catherine spent those same years quietly growing into its future. Those are not the same thing. Public attention comes and goes. Institutions remain. Italy did not start this story. It simply made the outcome impossible to miss. There was Catherine, alone in another country, speaking a language, sitting on the floor with children who ran to her without fear, while huge crowds filled the streets after traveling 3 hours just to see her. That was not a staged publicity win. It was the result of 20 years of steady, genuine work showing itself all at once. No vow renewal, no essay, no NBC boycott, and no polished brand video is going to change what that image said to people or how strongly it landed. And now Australia is next for William and Catherine. That is a trip worth watching closely. The videos on screen will keep you updated on everything. I will see you there. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this, and thanks for being here with me.